Hello, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. It is July 26th, 2026. I'm Eric Murphy. This is Skeptic Generation, and we need to talk. Hey, everybody. Joining me today is Tori. Tori, it's been a while. How's it going?
It's going really well, honestly. Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, we've seen each other, but I haven't been on the show in a minute.
True. I missed you. We all missed you.
I know. Oh, thank you.
I'm happy to have you back. Oh my goodness. So what have you been up to? What's new in Tori's world?
Oh my God, what have I been up to? I mean, it's summer break, obviously. So like just a lot of trying to balance all of life's responsibilities with kids and work. And I mean, it's been fun having teenagers. Like I always felt like as a teen, do you remember this, Eric, that like adults were like, you're actually just kind of a little shit. and like having teenagers now is like, oh, this is way more like, I don't understand why people are so down on teens. Like teens are so much fun.
Well, I mean, your kids are kind of awesome though too. So this is fair. They're also
I put work in on the front end, I will say.
They also feel
that probably
like,
helped.
It feels like they are 6 inches taller every single time I see them too. Like it's insane.
I know.
They're so
I know.
Tall. Anyway,
you're so tall.
They're so tall.
They're so tall.
So I know you and I kind of shot the shit about what we want to talk about today, and I've definitely have stuff on my mind. I named the title of the episode "I Want to Be Evil." Did you ever listen to Eartha Kitt?
Like her music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that song? I want to be evil. No?
I don't know if I remember that. Oh. Like, I'm sure it'll come back to me in like 5 minutes after we've moved on.
It's so fucking icon.
Oh, yeah. Eartha Kitt.
Definitely. Before we dive in, I should probably put the phone number out there because, hey, this is a call-in show. And if you want to call in, the number is 412-SKEPGEN. That's 412-759-7436. Or you can go to tiny.cc/SKEPGEN. That's tiny.cc/SKEPGEN. We have a call screener who is... Let's bring Tori back. Hey, we have a call screener who is kind enough to be here volunteering their time, just like our many other volunteers who are just helping make this happen. And Keenan wants to hear from you. They want to screen your call so we can talk to you. Okay, sorry. So what is on your mind? What do you want to talk about? What's going on?
Well, so I had several friends during the course of this week send me this article from Christianity Today called Love Thy Trillionaires. And I thought it was very interesting. Okay. Because that's very antithetical to like everything that Jesus said, at least. Like I know that. And so it was really weird.
Wait, so what?
And uncomfortable.
What company did this?
Christianity Today, the publication. Today, yeah.
Got it. I've actually used Christianity Today as a source for things in the past. What is Love Thy Trillionaire?
They have a lot of up and coming and like very popular Christian speakers and authors and whoever write pieces for them. So that's
and they report on the niche. You know, you find out some interesting stuff. So what was Love Thy Trillionaire? What was the point of it? What was going on?
Well, obviously the point of it was essentially all you people need to stop complaining about other people accumulating and hoarding wealth. Which, again, Jesus was very explicitly anti-wealth.
Yeah.
So it was real interesting to get this like, well, you have to love your neighbors. And like on Go Home Bible, You're Drunk, I say this all the time. There are no billionaires in heaven. Like if that's something you actually believe,
well,
like a hard no.
Yeah. So kind of putting on the Christian hat, thinking about it. I remember reading, easier for a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle, easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Right. And then I watched Creflo Dollar and Paula White
Not Creflo.
What? And they had a different interpretation. They said that there's a place called the Eye of the Needle. It's actually just a big door. So if you can pass through a big door, it's fine. Jesus went out of his way to say that rich people can get into heaven, no problem.
No, and that is okay. So what's interesting about this, right, is like those TV preachers like Creflo Dollar and Paula White and Kenneth Copeland and Oral Roberts and all of those people, right? Prosperity gospel, very real thing that exists. And when we were kids, they had much less impact. Like they were just much less influential, honestly, than they are now, which is fascinating.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like they, like even for us, I remember going to church, people were like, oh, why do you listen to those TV preachers? They're so weird. And like a bunch of them are criminals, which was true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just like that theology has become a lot more popular in the last couple of decades, which is also interesting. So like and claim it sort of.
Yeah. I feel like it
wealthy.
I feel like it peaked in the 80s, honestly.
I think it's peaking again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Jesus, we live in the worst timeline. It's fucking. So if we're going to be talking about billionaires, you told me you didn't see the Peter Thiel tweet. So this is from last week. And why don't you read it for us?
Okay. Peter Thiel, at Peter Thiel, x.com. Devastating result for Argentina, a country I recently made my home due to its commitment to European demographic continuity, political reinvention, and offering exceptional men a second chance after 1945. I had hoped to celebrate among friends. I can't see the rest of it.
Oh, it's here. Let me just bump this up. There we go.
Oh, I had hoped to celebrate among friends. Okay. Cool.
So European demographic
men needing a second chance
after 1945, European demographic continuity. What do you think he's talking about?
Argentina was like, I believe, if I recall correctly, doing my research, Argentina had the most, I guess I'll say, successful extermination campaign of their indigenous population of any South American country.
So there's a pretty high list for Central and South America, unfortunately, when it comes to exterminating the indigenous folks. But it is where it is where all the Nazis went to hide out after World War II.
Shared values, maybe shared beliefs.
So it is interesting. Like, number one, obviously, commitment to European demographic continuity is directly great replacement theory stuff. It is very much, preserving the white race. And yeah, second chance after 1945. That's just the Nazis. That's just the Nazis.
Exceptional men, he said, sort of like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worse than like good people on both sides. Exceptional men.
So it is frustrating, and I think this does kind of play into part of what I wanted to talk about today, that we've been saying the guy's a Nazi for years. We've been screaming it from the rooftops.
Saying he's a Nazi. He's like, I espouse Nazi values. That's why we said it.
Yeah.
It wasn't because we just hate the guy for no reason.
No. And he's from an area in South Africa where a lot of Nazis hid out. Like that is just a factual thing. But it does feel like I'm looking back, and my most frustrating moments were when people on the left would say, well, you really shouldn't do that. You're getting a little hyperbolic here. Don't call him a Nazi.
Right.
We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Fucker's a literal Nazi. A literal fuck. I think that I'm going into this conversation in a different direction than I thought I would, but let's just follow this for a minute.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Drew, and I said, you know what's funny is anytime I or someone else brings up the KKK, the only thing anyone ever brings up is the story of the black man who befriended the KKK.
Oh.
Right? Like that is the only story I ever hear. That is the response is you know, what we need to do is we need to aspire to be friends with them and show them the error of their ways. Right? Like anytime we want to, I think that is how you stifle systemic change, by looking at a system of oppression or looking at a hate group. And instead of going, hey, we need to deal with this hate group, say, let's take individual responsibility and individually have an impact by making friends with these pieces of shit. I think the black man who made friends with the KKK is the best thing to ever happen to the KKK. Well, the best thing since Birth of a Nation to happen to the KKK.
Right.
What exceptional cover, what an exceptional misdirect to take our need of wanting to be the better person and to weaponize it against us and go, I'm going to make your values, right? Our own individual values, right? Something that is going to protect them, right? Your values are to individualize and no longer systematize these problems.
Yeah.
It's just extraordinarily frustrating that you know, the browbeating on behalf of the Nazis that we do to each other so that we can go, we're not going to sling mud.
Right.
We're just going to, like, we were right.
This was definitely a huge issue on Twitter back when I was on Twitter. Because, they're, especially among like affluent liberal Democrats, they love tech billionaires. And so I think it has been a little bit jarring for them to realize who these people really are. So like for starters, I think there is that. Because it's like, oh, well, you know, they're innovators and they're bringing us new ideas. And like, you know, these are the things I heard anyway. Right.
Oh yeah.
Not all affluent liberals or something. This is what I heard from people, right? Is that it's like, oh, we need these this infusion of like new ideas. Never mind that they were usually taken from someone else with or without permission.
But they're job creators. They're job creators. They're
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. And so like, I have absolutely noticed that. And then, I mean, culturally, we are taught that everything is individual. There's no such thing as systemic anything. Right. And like, I mean, these are things that I was told. Like, I would try to have conversations with people and be like, well, what about power disparities, for example? Like, what about systems?
Yeah.
And I would straight up be told, this is usually by conservatives, it was like, everyone has the same amount of power. What are you talking about? That is what I was told.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By multiple people.
Oh yeah.
It's like, everyone has the same amount of power. Everyone has autonomy. It's a free country. Hyper individualism.
Right. And I think on the left, while a lot of people may on the left understand that, you know, there's disparity in power, we're so tied to this mythology around redemption that we can never actually, like, who was I speaking to? I think it was someone tied to the show, honestly. So please, if I'm quoting you, please take this with a grain of salt. Like, but I had a conversation recently, and it was about Trump, and maybe. Okay. Anyway, I was told, if I could wave a magic wand, I wouldn't want Trump to disappear. I'd want Trump to change his mind. Think about how many good things Trump could do if he changed his mind. And
wow,
it's this hope for redemption that I think we hold on to.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think it's poisoned us. I think it's entirely poisoned us. So I mean, and I had this conversation, yesterday with a different friend who was saying, well, we need to recognize systems. We need to, the Daryl Davis, by the way, thank you for clarifying it's Daryl Davis who made friends with the KKK member. That instead of focusing on Daryl Davis, we need to focus on the KKK. Right? And while I agree that we need to get active and do stuff, I think we need to reflect on what our ideals are. Because if you can gather 1,000 people to turn their minds and their hands to good works, and they think good works means making friends with them, then you played yourself. Like, what do you think they're going to do when they have the chance to do good works? They're going to make friends with them.
It's like, good for whom, right? Like, these are all the questions that come up for me. And you're right. I think that this is a cultural value that we have here in the US. You can draw a straight line from Trump and like January 6th, for example, directly back to the end of Reconstruction, and like, oh, we need to stop making this about divisions. Like, we're all white men here. We can all get along and let bygones be bygones. And like the choice to not, this is a group of people who like were traitors to the country, and the choice to be like, welcome back to the brotherhood, open arms, all is forgiven, really put us on an interesting path. And it was very much about individual redemption, right? There was nothing about like, oh, you may have been corrupted by the system that you thought you were supporting, right? And because of this, either because you were either manipulated or made this choice of your own volition, of sound body and mind, like, there are consequences for this. You don't just get to have power over people again because we know how you use it. You've proven that to us. You've demonstrated that to us.
Well, so that takes me to the other piece of this. You actually perfectly sandwiched that over. And that is that the system we've created does not create consequences. In fact, consequences are deeply avoided systemically. And so, like, did you follow the bricks and minifigs stuff?
Oh, the Utah thing?
Yeah.
The theft of
theft of $200,000 worth of Legos, and CoffeeZilla made a video, and Legal Eagle made a video, and everybody made it. Yeah,
everybody did.
Yeah. So much has happened that people have forgotten parts of the story. One of the parts of the story was that after a while, I think it was the branch store owners. I think it might have been the CEO. I'm not sure. They said, hey, we'll give you your Legos if you make a video apologizing to us for everything you've done and admit that we did nothing wrong. If you say that we did nothing wrong and you apologize, we'll give you your Legos. So Reckless Ben decided it would be funny if he did like a AI version saying all of the things they wanted to say because he couldn't bring himself to say it, but maybe they could just make an AI do it, right?
Okay. Oh, I did not know this.
And this happened, and they were like, "Thank you. We're not giving you anything." And it is interesting though that what is generally expected in this kind of thing as a settlement, right? Once you know you cannot get away with it, then what you do is you go, hey, I'll give you what I stole from you, or I'll make amends and I'll do whatever it takes to make you whole. But you need to sign an NDA and release me from all responsibility and absolve me of all guilt. And then if you do that, I'll give the things back. Why ever do the right thing when if you hold off and be a bigger piece of shit, you can get the other side to absolve you of responsibility first? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what? Yeah. What's the other side of that? There needs to be an equal weight on the other side to encourage us to hold people responsible so that they do be held liable. Because right now, the only thing that we have is, ego, right? I'm going to stay in court for another 6 to 8 months to finish this out because I want you to be responsible publicly versus being made whole and getting the money back, right? Like it's an easy choice on the other side of it. And the other side is encouraged to, right? Another example that I get was it Jake or Logan Paul who did the crypto scandal? Do you know what I'm talking about? Crypto
I do, but I don't know which one is which.
Yeah, same. But one of them, they wanted to create like a Pokemon type NFT thing, and so they started selling those NFTs before the game was built, and then they never built the game. And so all of those people who bought those NFTs decided they wanted to file a class action lawsuit. And so whichever one of the Paul brothers it was said, hey, okay, I'm going to set aside a fraction of what I took and give it back. But the only way I'm going to do it is if you sign a non-disclosure agreement and absolve me of all wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what accountability? We actually have a system that is designed against it. Yes. Why do people act like pieces of shit like this? Because our system is made for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And like I've heard lawyers, by the way, like I think what honestly kind of frustrates us, I'm getting so mad I'm stuttering. What frustrates me most is that when I look up lawyers who talk about this, they're often, defense lawyers who are so dejected, so ground down that they go, yeah, of course that's a thing. When I talk to people who already understand this, they go, oh, well, of course, we all know that. This is not okay. This has never been okay. And if we create these systems that never hold anyone responsible, then how does that tie us back to Daryl Davis? How does that tie us back to the KKK? How does that get us to systems, right? Mm-hmm. I do think that when we moralize, we need to make friends and show them the error of their ways. We need to take the high ground and make sure that we're not pointing out the Nazis that they literally are. We need to break down what we want, never even offering up what we want, so that we can preemptively, how do I explain this? I feel like if you were to talk to an establishment Democrat and you said, hey, I want a DSA candidate to run, they'd say, oh, well, that's never going to work. Let's find a more conservative candidate to run instead. Right. We will actively cut out what we want in order to, it's conciliation, right? Like we will concede before ever starting the conversation, because we want to be eminently reasonable so we can pat ourselves on the back. This is the system that we've created, you guys. This is it. This is what our culture has built.
Yes. But I mean, structurally, like to me, I think it's very interesting that we have, like, Trump being elected really brought so much of this to light, that it's like the Constitution isn't really a thing that can be enforced on people with power. It's overwhelmingly just a bunch of white guys in a back room with a massive fireplace, smoking cigars and like shaking hands and being like, be well, right? It's just a bunch of like backroom handshake agreements.
Yeah.
And it is real to me. What was so telling about Trump getting elected is that it's like, oh, there are no mechanisms. It's like we have laws that are articulated, that are spelled out. We have zero mechanisms to enforce them if someone blatantly breaks them. If you are a person with power who blatantly breaks the laws or breaks the system, right? So that you can personally benefit. But Trump making like $2 billion last year. Also, a lot of it on cryptogriphs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I genuinely
there are no consequences built in, which I think is incredibly telling. It's like we have rules, but if you don't follow them, like
so truly, like, just saying, for my MAGA family, which I have a lot of, and my close family, literally anytime they open their mouths politically, all I'm going to say is Trump built concentration camps and made $2 billion last year. You don't ever get to talk to me again about this, ever, about anything. You want to talk about Biden? Shut the fuck up. Donald Trump made $2 billion last week in concentration camps across the country. Shut the fuck up. I'm not interested in befriending this, and I'm not interested in sitting down and debating this. Debating it normalizes it.
yes,
I'm tired of normalizing this bullshit. So yeah, I wish that I did have this. Don't you ever wish that you could be a grifter? That you could just like
about once a week.
Right.
I had no moral qualms with like taking advantage of other people.
Right. When you know how the system works, you can do it. All you got to be is a sociopath. So I don't know. I'm not looking at call in studio. We have 3 calls. So let's see. Let's talk to Adam in England first, just because call in studio, we're paying for it.
Yep.
So let's grab Adam. Adam, you're live on the show.
Hello, Skeptic Generation.
Hello. Wow, you sound really good. You got a good microphone, Adam.
Oh, thank you.
Adam, what do you want to talk about, man?
Well, I hear you're skeptical of religion.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah. I started out, I created a show called Talk Heathen. Did you ever hear Talk Heathen?
I've called in a couple of times.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I got my break on YouTube. And the approach of just wanting to not tear each other's faces off, and have these conversations is kind of where we went. But it's been a while since I've talked to a theist. What specifically do you want to talk about?
Well, I believe that religion benefits mankind.
Okay.
And that societies need religions because religion provides a more complete understanding of morality and a sense of meaning and belonging. And this manifests in psychological benefits that can be scientifically measured.
Okay.
If you want, I think what's critical here is how we understand what religion is. So a definition. Okay.
Sure. We're definitely going to need your definition of religion if we're going to talk to you about religion. Otherwise, we're going to talk past you. What's up? Give it to us.
Yeah. So religion is based on spirituality.
Okay.
So I think the key thing to understand here, that's going to sound a bit philosophical, is that spirituality is a theory of human metaphysical identity. So if you think about it, spirituality is always talk about some kind of soul or grace or manifesting, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And religion adds something specific to that. So a religion is a theory of spirituality and the ethical code that's derived from it. So religion has to be relating to a social structure, and that social structure is built from the spirituality,
Okay.
where spirituality is a theory of human metaphysical identity.
So I definitely have thoughts, but I have a history of railroading my co-host when I jump in on these. So I want to give Tori the first chance. Do you have anything you want to jump in on with this?
Well, I am really intrigued. I mean, I think that there are definitely pieces of this. Yeah, that it's like spirituality can be very, or religion, excuse me, can have positive benefits on, individuals. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look to see it about like net benefits for like groups or countries, etc. Um, but I think that religion, or at the very least spirituality, is probably the norm for humans historically, evolutionarily. Um, as someone who self-identifies as an atheist, I don't think, like, at least personally, that my job is to try to convince people to like let go of their religions. And I think that it does serve for that like social cohesiveness, in the ways that you were discussing, Adam. So I definitely get that piece of it. Um, I don't necessarily think that like makes it a net positive, like on the whole. Like I said, I you can definitely prove that like it's positive, that it can have positive effects on individuals. Like that's very true, like having a spiritual practice. But yeah, that's kind of where I land on it, is like it does make a lot of sense, but I don't think that we necessarily have to like default to our programming. And I think that it's pretty natural for humans to be spiritual and or religious. And that I think people like Eric and I are actually the outliers overwhelmingly. And so like, yeah, for me, that's just sort of how I see it, is like, oh yeah, it's actually more normal to have like a spiritual or religious belief system, and to kind of build your life around that. The thing for me personally, where I'm like, I don't see religion doesn't provide for me enough harm reduction to be in line with my personal values. It's like, if it can be used to both cause harm and to heal people, then it's like, okay, well, then it's just a tool, and it's just how you use it. Ultimately, it's just sort of a neutral thing that doesn't have any moral weight one or the other. It's just how it's implemented. So that's really how I see it. I don't necessarily think that I inherently disagree with you on like most of what you said, truthfully. But for me, at the end of the day, harm reduction is more important than like a religious or spiritual belief. So,
Adam, would you like a chance to respond to Tori before I hop in?
Yeah. So obviously, I agree that it's the norm. It sounds to me that what's in contention here is the connection between religion and social cohesion, and whether that can be judged as being net beneficial to the whole society. Am I reading that properly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true, but yes, I think absolutely, especially because social cohesion among like majority groups often leads to persecution of minority groups. So, I mean, that's also the norm historically. So again, I don't see that as like a net positive. We don't have countries that are all like, one big happy family. That's not reality, right? People move around and we have different values, and we come from like different spaces, and like religion does not lend itself to understanding of people who aren't like us. It functions as kind of like an in-group, out-group thing frequently. And so when you have really diverse spaces, I think that, social cohesion among like a majority group, like, woohoo, good for you. That's great. Like, your country is Catholic, or your country is Protestant, or your country is Hindu. Okay, so what about everybody else? Like, I'm glad you're having a good time. I'm glad that you feel connected to your neighbors. But then, like, when your neighbor's somebody that you're like, oh, that's weird, you have a different religion, suddenly that social cohesion stops working.
That honestly reminds me of, why Muslims call their religion the religion of peace, right? Adam, do you know why they call, why they say it's the religion of peace when they're talking about Muslim beliefs?
I'm guessing it's because peace is established through conquest.
Yeah, once everyone is a Muslim, then we'll have peace.
Okay, I mean, that kind of relates back to identity. It kind of underlines that this is all about identity.
Well, I'm definitely willing to meet you there. I see the ship leaving port on responding to Tori though, so I should probably give you a chance to finish talking to Tori before I jump in. Sorry.
Okay, so I think I ought to focus on this idea of whether or not religion is beneficial, in particular with this nuance about minorities. I think that the benefits of religion are ultimately individual, and that's how it leaks out into society as a whole, is because it's benefiting each person regardless of what social intersection they fall into, whether they're minorities or not. And the research kind of sheds light on that. I think we can agree that there are certain behaviors that reflect maladaptive psychological coping mechanisms, so signs of psychological distress. So things like alcohol consumption, substance abuse and gambling, viewing of online sexual material, antidepressant reliance, and obviously violent behavior, so like violent crime. The thing is that studies in the sociology of religion have shown that those behaviors are reduced by religious attendance, and general measures of religiosity, they're associated with reductions in these signs of psychological distress. And I'd say that's individual. So I'd say that first and foremost, religious participation benefits the individual regardless of who they are. And that relates back to this idea that religion is based on identity. If you have a theory of human metaphysical identity, that's giving you a basis to think of how you relate to other people, and so that's going to manifest in your behavior. If you have a clear idea of how you relate to others, then so that can result in the benefits that we see scientifically.
Tori, do you want to, or can I hop in?
Go for it, Eric.
Okay. Hey, Adam. This is a very pragmatic argument, and I'm definitely willing to meet you there. But I want to ask you first if the pragmatic stuff matters. Like, if, let's say, a belief in a God made social cohesion more easily doable. Let's say we created a situation where there were no outgroups, right? You had a religion that brought everyone together. Would that make its God claim more or less true?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because pragmatically, we could make up a religion together, and if it did all the things that you want, then that would kind of be the best religion. We would know it's not true, but it would get all the benefits that you're talking about, right?
I'm not sure if it would get all the benefits.
Why not?
I think the benefits are dependent on much more granular aspects of the religion, and that's reflected in the science. So, the results that I'm talking about, they do actually focus on Christianity. They're not inclusive of Islam.
Adam, I fully expect it. I think it's your accent. And the fact that we live, in very Christian dominated societies. I just assumed it was Christian for sure. But I don't know. I like this thought experiment. Come on. You and I are smart people. Maybe we found people smarter than us to help. We create a fictitious, fictional religion. It brings people together. What would that fictional religion not have that Christianity has? In the benefits that you're talking about, and from there, what makes it more or less true? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to suss out.
Okay. Well, bear with me as I try to unpack that. So if it's fictional,
Well, I gave you a lot to unpack, brother. So let's do the best we can. Okay.
yeah, I think that I'd have to. The problem is that I have to introduce technicalities. So if it's fictional, what we're saying is that the language that the religion consists of, religions are doctrinal languages or scriptural languages.
Well, not all scripture is doctrine. Societies choose doctrine. In fact, subsets of Christianity have very, very different doctrines, very different social cohesion, very different expectations through time and locale. So we can't say that the religion itself has those things, right? We create those doctrines from our interpretations of those scripts, of those passages.
So I would say that a doctrine is a result of the spirituality and the deeper metaphysical beliefs.
Sure.
So obviously, yeah, we can have different sort of denominations that have different doctrines, but that's what I'm saying is that each religion has doctrines, because what they're doing is they're interpreting texts, like old texts, whether it's okay. Well, what I was beginning to say is that to say that it's fictional, that it's a fictional religion, is to say that it doesn't correspond to reality. So there's no map from the words in the text it doesn't map onto reality. Well, the problem there is that it undermines what I would say the explanation is for the scientific results. So if there's a scientific effect taking place, which is what we observe, and that's specifically to do with how people relate to each other and psychological distress, it's because the religion is doing something. It can only do something if it corresponds to reality.
Yeah, it could still be fictional, though.
Well, I would say that its degree of fiction, of how fictional it is going to be a limitation on what it can achieve in people. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think that, let's take a look at Abraham and Isaac, right? Abraham's commanded to sacrifice his son Isaac. He takes Isaac to the top of the hill, and before killing his son, he's given was it a lamb, I believe?
Yeah, ram.
A ram to slaughter instead. Whether that it actually happened or not, I think the story was pretty powerful. I don't know if Lot's wife got turned into salt. But the story is pretty powerful. I don't know if the ark existed, but the story is pretty powerful. I don't know if, Jesus actually multiplied loaves and fishes, but the story is pretty powerful, isn't it? And then on the other side of it, it's such a trope to use Harry Potter. So I'm going to use Spider-Man instead. Okay. In Spider-Man, he lives in New York City, right? But it's in Spider-Man, so does that mean New York doesn't exist? No, you can have true things in fiction, right? Going to Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter had friends. That doesn't mean that friends are fiction. That just means that you have true things that you are finding in this work of fiction. In fact, we use fiction in order to tell these broader stories. So I don't know. When you say that it being fictitious makes it less applicable, I feel like our history of fiction says otherwise.
This sort of relates directly to two things. First of all, the fact that spirituality, like I said, it's a theory of human metaphysical identity specifically. So it's about our identity, and whether or not people see a positive effect of the religion in their life is how they're going to judge it. So it relates what you said. You give these examples of things which ostensibly didn't happen. So Isaac and Jacob, Isaac and Abraham. I mean, even if we don't believe that happened, the truth that religions interpret in it, which is manifesting their doctrines. Obviously, earlier we mentioned doctrines. Is that it's spiritual. So is that it's about the human identity. It's not that it actually happened, right, or that Jesus got those loaves of bread. But the church interprets that to be about prayer, about the effects of when we pray, is that we get more than we get more than what we gave in.
Maybe your church. My church thought it was literal loaves and bread. I don't know, Tori, what did your church? Did your church think it was just a general saying, or did they think that Jesus actually multiplied loaves and fishes?
We had a very kind of literal interpretation of
Yeah.
pretty much all of Scripture. So yeah, it was basically all considered to be historically accurate.
Yeah.
So that was in my space, at least. I know that that's not every Christian denomination, of
Yeah,
course.
well,
but
it's not Adam's.
Christian literalism is incredibly popular in the U.S., probably more so than most other countries,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Well, I do got to say, Adam, England in particular is responsible for that. You guys exported your nuts over to the U.S. and now they're in charge. So this is
fair. I would have
yeah.
gotten rid of them too. So
I
think that's valid.
I just want to say that if we get anything out of this conversation, that the religious literalist supremacy in the United States is Adam's fault. Are you okay with that, Adam?
I'm not sure. I would argue against. I would argue against literalism as I've done so far.
I mean, we'd probably agree there, but again, that's a doctrinal difference.
I think personally that we have a lot more common ground if you are not someone who is a biblical literalist personally.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that we very much then can, sort of meet in the middle on the power of a lot of these stories. I think the example, Eric, that you gave of like Abraham and Isaac, the moral takeaway from that, even if it wasn't something that actually happened, to me is pretty harmful.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I think it's incredibly powerful, but even just as a myth, a legend, a story that we told. I mean, that story messed me up as a kid,
right?
Real or fake. It had the same impact on me. I was like, oh, I don't have much value to my parents. Great.
Well,
that's what I took away from that.
I guess where I'm going with this, Adam, is that your argument here sounds like you're arguing that you can point at sociological benefits, and I could meet you down that road. But before I do, this pragmatic approach that you have sounds like it would be just as useful with a fictional religion as with your religion, which I'm sure you don't think is fictional. So I'm trying to be respectful here, give you the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm not seeing a difference in these pragmatic results that you're talking about.
Okay, so my argument would be that if it's a fictional religion,
mm-hmm.
it won't have any correspondence to reality, and then there won't be these spiritual benefits that people are experiencing. Okay. In their reduction of psychological distress.
So do you think that do you think that Islam is fictional, or do you think it's a true religion?
Well, I don't think it's right to say a true religion. I think it's just statements. Like a religion is a whole system of stuff.
Okay.
It's the statements in
So
in the system.
Do you think Islam is fiction?
I think there's more fiction in it than Christianity, but I think there are true claims in it as well.
Okay. So I can have true claims in my work of fiction. I can want people to be good to each other. I could command social cohesion. I can do it a whole lot better than the Bible could. I know that for a fact. So
okay. And I think you're right. Is that people obviously really love superhero fiction, and they really love it because it does tell them something about their own identity.
Well, and it doesn't have the book of Leviticus either.
Maybe people don't like that very much these days.
Adam?
It's a bit boring.
Well, it's not boring. It's heinous. It's vile. It is truly, the Mosaic laws, if you read them cover to cover, are horrific and are the base cause of a lot of the suffering that Christianity in particular has caused in the world.
Okay.
Right? No? Man shall not lie with another man, or he'll be put to death. Right? You've heard these.
I've read it, yeah.
Yeah. My fiction won't have that. Mine would be better.
Okay.
So I guess the question is then, is your argument a good argument for the existence of God, or are you even arguing for the existence of God, or are you just arguing for the usefulness of religiosity?
I'm arguing the latter. So I'm saying
The usefulness of religiosity. Got it. You know, I've vacillated on it, to be honest, Adam. And the reason I vacillate is because of exactly what Tori said. And that is that outgroups get the shaft. Outgroups get horribly, horribly treated. And that's what happens when you systematize religious, thought and hierarchies. That said, I think that where I live in the United States, we don't have as much occasion to gather together as a community to support each other. And when you don't have that, then you don't get the kind of benefits. But I think that in communities that do support each other, that do meet regularly, that do share values and do those kinds of things, it doesn't need to be a religious community. It just needs to be people being in community with each other.
I'd say that they're only going to be in community with each other if they have a clear idea of how they relate to each other.
Sure.
So
Yeah. You could be into LARPing. You could be a furry. You could be into D&D. You could be, you could be poly. Heck, I live in Portland, Oregon. Adam, do you know what Portland, Oregon has for the polyamorous community? Holy smokes. That'd blow your brain. Insane.
The only thing I know about Portland is that there's this guy who drove through the barricades during a parade.
Yeah,
and I got to see how clean the city is. I was very surprised.
Yeah, well, it's only clean because it rains all the time.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just because of the people there. But they're obviously very clean people.
Oh, that's very nice of you. And we do. I don't know if I can say we. I've only been here for a couple of years. But Portland's pretty good, but it rains all of the time. So you get that nice, freshly washed streets. Yeah. But anyway, those are examples of community. I think that you can see those, I think that those communities can offer the same kind of benefits you're talking about.
And I think they do. Again, if you look at the data.
How do you? I don't see how you could come to that conclusion, because the data is looking at religious versus non-religious, and then it's identifying that there's less crime, there's less substance abuse in the religious group, and so on.
So,
Okay, sorry. I apologize for clearing my throat in my mic. That was not appropriate. Okay, so I know I can't speak for other countries, but I know that in the United States, well, here's the thing, right? Bias exists, right? And so if you are being asked, hey, what is your religious affiliation? I don't know, you're filling out a poll on YouGov or whatever, and you're asked, hey, what is your religious affiliation? And then you're asked a series of questions about your behavior. In the US, at least, if you are someone who identifies as Christian, whatever, Protestant, Catholic, fill in the blank, etc., you are going to be primed, because this is self-reported data, to view yourself through this lens, or at least, I'm not saying it's a conscious choice to mislead the pollster or whatever, but you are primed to think of yourself as doing better than other people, right? That's what's internalized, and there is shame associated with something like crime, something like drinking, something like visiting Pornhub every other week, and so there's some motivation there to not report those kinds of things accurately. Sorry, I shouldn't say motivation. That's the wrong word. The subconscious bias piece means that it's very unlikely that you can self-report those sorts of things accurately. Also, in the US at least, a lot of those things around crime, for example, that's the people who they're talking to are overwhelmingly like middle-class white people who already live in safe neighborhoods. So to me, at least, and I can't speak for other countries, right? But I know how it functions in the US, that there is this motivation, unconscious motivation, to make Christianity look better than it is. And so you self-report in this way that makes your religion look good, right? You want to be a good representative of your religion. And if you have that across 1,000 Christians that you're polling, that will warp the data that you get on the other end. Completely agree that on an individual level, yes, it helps reduce stress and like, you live longer, you have, but that's a community thing, right? People who are in community also live longer. People who do not feel lonely, people who feel connected and have, close relationships and sort of medium relationships, and then just like acquaintances, people that you see on the bus or like on your walk with the dog. Those things also lead to lower crime, healthier life. Those are net positives. And so I just don't think that any of it actually is about the religion. I think religion is just sort of like, I don't even want to say an evolutionary byproduct, just an evolutionary product of, hundreds of thousands of years of accidentally eating mushroom personally. But that's,
I don't know. I think, Adam, I've been doing this for 10 years on YouTube and a whole lot longer before that. And I've been in a lot of Facebook arguments where people have tossed around sociological studies. And I've spent countless hours, oh, well, this one supports me and this one supports me. I'm sure you know that across the board studies on wellness of countries, that the less religious countries consistently score higher than the religious ones. And there's a direct line, right? The more religious it is, the lower it gets on the happiness index, of its people. Right? Like I'm sure you've seen those studies as well, right?
Well, I've heard that, is it Guatemala or somewhere around there is like the happiest country on earth. I've heard that.
So I've been doing a lot of videos on Guatemala. Guatemala has a history of colonial violence and genocide, and so does most of its surrounding countries. I'm talking about the Scandinavian countries. You do see it being reflected rather consistently that the less religious countries are, the more they tend to score better on, overall happiness of the people, and then, positive social behaviors in community. So like, you've got studies and I've got studies. So now what do we do? Do we make them fight? I
think associating Scandinavian countries with irreligiosity and then making an association between religiosity and positive societal outcomes, I think that's a flawed interpretation. Because when it works for you, it's a good interpretation, but when it works for me, it's a flawed interpretation. I want to know why. Well, that's not what I was about to say.
Oh, sorry.
So,
go ahead.
the reason is that when you compare countries with each other, it's not the same as looking at individuals within a country. So when you compare countries, there's loads of variables. The problem for the specific kind of comparison that you made is that those things were true, so the positives about Scandinavian countries were true even hundreds of years ago before they became irreligious. So it's more something about the people themselves that's causing the kind of high trust, high diligence, low crime kind of effects. And you can see that if you look at other examples of irreligious societies around the world. So, for example,
okay. So how much data do you have about your country before it became Christian? How can you compare that to its behavior of people being Christian today? And then on top of that, how do you account for other factors in the same way that you accounted for other factors for the Scandinavian countries? Can we look at pre-Christian United States? pre-Christian Greece, pre-Christian Rome, pre-Christian Levantine area, or East Asian, maybe. Where can we look to see the before and after? How do you account for those?
So you're asking me how do we get standardized data?
No, I'm not asking you how to get standardized data. Standardized data is an entirely different thing. What I'm asking you is, so I brought up Scandinavian countries, right? This is me giving me, aha, I'm tossing it back at you. I have data too, right? The reason I did that, by the way, is to try and point out the silliness of this, but we'll play the game. We'll do this. Adam, I brought up Scandinavian countries and you parried. You said, well, but there's other circumstances, and you could see that they were nice to each other before they were Christian. Oh, okay. Well, then let's look at yours. You're saying that Christianity has brought all these benefits. How did you look at your own society before they were Christian? To see if they were better or worse than each other? How did you get this data? Not standardized data, just how did you get this data to make this conclusion? Because you sounded pretty confident about what it was that makes my example not work. But I feel like you invalidate your own example at the same time by saying that.
Right. Well, I don't think that what I said about comparing countries, is going to invalidate the research is primarily the United States and different communities within the United States. It doesn't work that way. But to talk about what you said about, so you're asking me, what do I know about violence in England before Christianity? Mm-hmm. That I know that I actually don't think that it's very difficult to make a comparison between when there was a lot of violence between states. It's very difficult to say that religion causes or prevents violence, because back when England was not Christianized, there was a lot of warfare. There was a lot of pagan warfare.
Oh, you can't be serious, Adam. You can't be serious. Okay. Hold on. So you're tiptoeing around. We have a largely American audience, so I want people to realize just how silly the thing you just said is. And maybe I can point this out for you, right? The history that you have to look at is the history of violent subjugation and forced Christianity by those people who recorded it, right? The vast majority of violence in your country, the ground you stand on, and your peers, it is all very well documented, forced Christianity, subjugation and indoctrination by Christian, people coming in. That is the vast majority of what you have. For you to say the things coming out of your mouth, you actively need to walk miles around all of the other evidence to the contrary in order to say it. I don't know how you get there. You have to be dishonest. Come on, Adam.
Well, I don't think that Christianity was brought about in England through violent subjugation. It was missionaries who appealed to the king. So the king already had a system, like the system of knights and enforcing the law. And then he was, I don't recall which king it was, but he was converted by a monk from Rome or so. There's only rough details, but that's how that happened.
It's only rough details if you only don't account for all of the details. So Adam, I truly, honestly, either I am deeply misunderstanding all of England's history, or you are. That has to be one of us. One of us needs to read a book. So how about we look into it? Do you want to play this game?
If you understand me correctly, I don't
Sure.
think maybe there's a misunderstanding in what it is I'm trying to say.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that the evidence that I'm going on is based on modern evidence, looking at religious groups versus non-religious groups within the United States, but I think that generalizes to other countries as well. when we're talking about entire countries, especially over a historical period, we're including a lot of violence that may or may not have anything to do with particular religions.
They do most of the time.
That's gonna, well, sometimes it's religious and sometimes it isn't.
Well, even sectarian violence. We could talk about the IRA. We don't even need to go out of Christianity to get to the violence. But I
take the World Wars. I mean, the World Wars were not religious, and the Civil War in England was not religious. Well, there's Catholics and there's Catholicism versus Protestantism in there, but it was between the families that wanted to rule the country.
So here's I think where I can break this down a little bit, and the reason why I think us parrying and riposting these studies with each other is because you're right. There are mitigating circumstances to all of it. Do you know why the Scandinavian countries are doing so well? Because they're fucking rich. They have sovereign wealth funds. Right? Like, why are Christians doing better in the United States? Because they actively make life worse for the non-Christians. It is societally, systemically, a awful place to not be Christian in a lot of parts of the United States. Truly, Adam. If you want to talk about persecuted groups, you need to find those who are persecuted by Christians here in the US. It's bad, dude. That explains a lot of it as well. A lot of it can be attributed to the cultural disdain of folks who move away from the faith, people who are given no tools to understand the world outside of their religious context. And so when they don't have that religious context, they've not been built up or been given any structure to take its place. In the absence of that, you do find it, right? The French philosophers called it, what was it? Anomie, I believe, right? When the moral foundation falls out from under you because you got nothing. Like, we've documented this. There's mitigating circumstances to all of it. So the sociological data is very hard to bring up because in context, it always has tons of mitigating circumstances. Instead of throwing the studies back and forth, because we can do that forever, I guarantee you, Adam, I spent years doing it. Instead, let's talk to each other. Let's talk about the individual. Let's talk about your claim. You said that religion does better for people. I didn't even push back. I could, but I'm not. What I said was, okay, is it because it's a story? Can we create a story that can do the same thing?
Well, if it contains messages that have a kind of platonic truth to them,
we can do that.
Like the superhero.
Sure.
But then there's a correspondence to some kind of spiritual reality. So like the Superman or the Batman stories, they teach kind of lessons. They teach particular kinds of lessons that people find compelling. They
do, and they're shaped by the society that creates them too. Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Batman is a rugged individualist because he's created in a society that values rugged individualists, right? All of these are I don't know. I'm used to people making arguments for the truth of their religion and not the pragmatic benefit of their religion. And so I don't think you're making an argument that can ever get us to whether or not it's true, and that's fine. But whether or not there's pragmatic benefit, I think you can get just as much through any other work of fiction. You just need the people behind it.
Okay.
No? That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. I mean, I would only... the argument that I'm bringing forward only assumes things like the existence of the soul and the benefits of things like prayer. The structure.
Do you think intercessory prayer works?
I can't rule it out, but I haven't seen the evidence convincingly enough.
There's a lot of evidence, actually. But I think we may need to do that on another day because we do have other callers, and we've been talking for 41 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that as well.
We're not that boring, Adam. Jesus. Poor Tori's been sitting here quietly for over half of it. I apologize, Tori.
I mean, no, it's a great conversation. I'm glad I get to listen and occasionally chime in. But no, like I do appreciate this because it's like I don't always want to be talking to people who disagree with me, right? So it's good to have an outside perspective of not just like outside like I disagree with you religiously, but also like cultural
Yeah.
context and societal context are different. So I do think that like this was an amazing conversation.
So, you know, Adam, the reason why Talk Heathen was started was because we felt like when you have different hosts every week, you're not able to pick up and have growing conversations. And so being able to continue the conversation means that not every conversation is 101 intro to religion. Eventually, you can get into more stuff, like the effectiveness of intercessory prayer and all that kind of stuff. I'm interested in exploring those things with you. You should call back because unlike every other show, I'm here every week. You can expect Tori to be here once a month. You can expect all my other co-hosts to rotate regularly once a month, and I'm going to be here every week, so we can pick these up and continue.
All right, I look forward to that.
Nice, cool. Well, we look forward to it too. Tori, anything for Adam?
Thanks, Adam, for calling. This was awesome. I really hope that you call next time I'm on the show. This is great.
All right, thank you for having me.
Take care.
Yeah, of course.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm sure Adam had just as positive interactions on other shows when he's called in, right?
I don't know.
Sure.
Sincerely, I have no clue.
I'm sure they all treated him respectfully and they had very, very useful conversations. All right. So, respecting the dead, we have someone who was given a hospital chaplain against their will.
Woof.
And we have a Swiss caller that wants to talk about free will and suffering. I'd like to take all three. Which one do you want to take first?
No. Who's been waiting the longest? I feel bad.
Oh, you're very, very kind. So Jim in Ohio has been waiting for over an hour. Let's take Jim.
Oh my God. Jim.
Right? Jim, you're live on the show. Jim? Hello? Poor guy. He could be waiting for an hour and be like, this is my one time to go poop. They're probably not going to take my call right now. Jim, I'm going to pop you back in the queue and we'll see if we can take you again. And maybe we just hopped in at the perfectly wrong time. That happens, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm like, I'm just going to like leave this on speaker and
for just a second, right? All right, let's so our other person got disconnected.
No.
Let's take our Swiss caller.
Okay.
Is it AJ? No, is a caller from Switzerland. You're live on the show. Hello? Is it a me thing?
Oh my God, Eric.
Hello? AJ from Switzerland. Jay. Oh no. Okay. Please don't do this to me. Jim, are you there? Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to grab our call screener to test because I know we tested with our call screener and everything works just fine. So Keena, I'm grabbing you. Keena, are you there? Call Institute is showing me as disconnected. Please double check my connection. This is why most other shows have someone producing live and the host is not the one producing. Okay, I am reconnecting and let's see if that works.
Okay.
I apologize.
Sounds good.
We should probably take this time to tell people, hey, if you like the show, if you want to us to read a comment, we read super chats at the end of every episode. So if you want something to come across and we read it, we will read it at the end if you super chat it. Also, if you want to support the show, supporting the show has allowed us to do some really cool stuff, like stay on air for the software, and it helped buy Tori's microphone. which
Yeah.
yeah. So
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So if you do want to support the show, we don't make a lot, guys. It's enough to keep the show going. And if you want to help make it happen, patreon.com/Skeptic Generation. That's patreon.com/Skeptic Generation. I charge 4 times a month, once for each episode. If there's a 5th week in the month, I never charge the 5th time. But that's what we do. All right. Keena, are you there?
No.
Oh,
obviously
thank
not.
goodness. Well, I didn't know if I was here. Jeez. Keena, you're a sweetheart, and I'm popping you back in the screening room. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm not here. What a butt. All right. It looks like our Swiss collar popped out, which makes me really sad because I've been waiting for a really long time. So our Swiss collar callback. Let's talk to Jim in Ohio again, who's been waiting for an hour and 12 minutes. Jim, you're live.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, we got it. We did
All
it.
right.
Yes.
I thought you were a professional.
Oh, that was your first mistake, Jim.
This is what I'm listening, calling for, but it's something I picked up while you were talking before you took your first call
Yeah.
about trying to make nice with the other side of communication. It's not going to work. They don't listen. They're just going to talk about woke and fake news. They don't listen. So there's no point, really.
Well, I'm not even complaining about arguing with the other side. I'm complaining about my own side.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm complaining about my own side getting moralistic to the point that we're punching ourselves in the face over it. We need all Nazis to be redeemable, so much so that we can never hold them responsible. We need to be friends with them to show them the errors of their ways. And it pisses me the fuck off.
watch your fucking language.
Fuck
That
you.
was a joke.
All right, Jim. All right. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, again, going back to what you guys were talking about earlier, sometimes I think about if I had Michelle Obama for an interview or something. You know her famous quote, "When they go low, we go high."
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask her, how's that working out?
Yeah. I bet you dollars to donuts that she's probably had that said quite a few times in the last 10 years. Like, I bet you she's had quite a number of people ever since Trump's first administration being like, so how's that working out for you? And besides, I wouldn't say it. She could whoop my ass.
Yeah, she probably not think through the wall.
Yeah.
But what I really caught about was last week's conversation when we talked about how when one of those side dies, like Miss Lindsay or Moscow Mitch, and we're supposed to say only nice things about our respected colleague and all that. Well, after we hung up, I happened to think about their side. They don't show us respect. Like when Mahler died, Trump was practically dancing and laughing. I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, when that guy broke in Nancy Pelosi's house and attacked her husband with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
that was going to be my next point.
Yeah.
Don Jr. made a video joking about how he was busy getting his Halloween costume ready for Halloween, and he showed a hammer.
Yep.
And the third and final example I was going to say was, even their own supporters, like when Trump supporter literally took a bullet and died at one of his rallies. Hey, I gave him the best seat in the House. And we're supposed to show them respect?
Well, so, Jim, we got to remember that it's not about equality, it's about supremacy. If they wanted equality, then it would be tit for tat. But it's not about that, and we need to recognize that. We need to never forget Mitch McConnell as saying, "Hey, it's an election year. You should not replace Scalia. You need to wait until the next president," and then them forcing in somebody 8 days before the election. They don't care. It's not about equality. It's not about doing the same things. It's about crying foul whenever you aren't winning. And it's about being foul when you are. It's supremacy.
Yeah. This is also something that I called to talk about, and it's probably not a topic you usually handle. But I've been thinking about a possible merchandise like Evolve Fish and others, like a T-shirt. What would you think of this idea? A shirt with, I think it was Pope Paul the Second, when all this child abuse in the church started to come out, and how he kept delaying their hearing, and finally decide that, okay, if there is a report, to report to the church, not the authorities, which is what they've been doing, and the church has done nothing about. So I was thinking about a T-shirt that would have his picture on the front, and over his head that would identify him for people who don't know him, especially non-Catholic, Pope jumper, and how they were trying to make him a saint. So, and under his picture would say something like, Saint of Pedophiles. What do you think?
Jim, that's amazing.
I nominate Cardinal George Pell.
Saint of
Saint of
pedophilia.
Yeah.
Saint of Pedophiles. They were trying to make him a saint.
Yeah. So Jim, I think that if you want to do it and it sounds like fun, go for it. I will say that it's not going to make money. So don't do it. Don't do it for monetary purposes. I know plenty of YouTubers who've launched merchandise lines. I've sold merchandise for different shows that I've had. Generally, if you sell a shirt for $25, you make about $2 to $3 out of it, because the drop shipping takes everything else. By the time that, taxes take their cut, you can sell a crap ton of merchandise and maybe get $200 to $300 for the year.
Well, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it myself because I wouldn't know how. But I would think about successing it to some other websites, like maybe for the Evolve Fish, like Evolution Evolve Fish, and there's something like that they might pick up on.
Yeah, I think that if you do want to make money, you need to. So my friend Steve made a board game called Debunked, and he took it on himself to find.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, he has a channel called Rationality Rules. He created this board game, and then he actually found manufacturers to create it, and then he worked with big box stores to have it stocked. He did not rely on other people to do the creation and all of that for him. And because of that, he actually made enough money to buy a house. You can make the money. Yeah, you can make the money. And it's not just the house. He's been working really hard on his channel for years and years and years. But regardless, you can make significant amounts of money if you are putting the work in. When it comes to Evolve Fish, truly, the people who are making good money are the ones who are either have the website selling it themselves, like Evolve Fish, right? Or people who are traveling the conference circuit. If you're going to the different conventions and you table and you sell those shirts that you made, you're going to make real money. But if you're not doing that,
it myself. Yeah. I wouldn't do it myself because I would have no idea how to go about. That's why I thought a company like Evolve Fish and some of these other atheists or free thoughts companies like Evolve Fish.
I think I've interacted with Evolve Fish before, and I don't think I remember ever having a bad experience with them. But they got to pay the bills too. Once they take their cut, just know, it's probably not going to be enough to live on. As a side hustle, fucking go for it. Do it because you want to, not because it's going to be the life-changing moneymaker. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I did, if I may say so, I did like their reactions to my idea. So
Good.
And you got a good laugh from it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jim. So we do have a couple of other callers. Tori, is there anything else you want to do?
I just wanted to add about what I said about the other side, respect.
Yeah, fuck them.
Okay. Well, good talking to you as always.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
I mean, have you had different results when it comes to merch?
Yeah, no, it's tough for sure.
You don't.
For sure.
You don't. And you honestly lose
Yeah.
money on international sales. Always. It's insane.
Yeah.
International.
I've mostly
shipping's
done
terrible.
digital stuff just because, like, you don't make,
Yeah.
you don't really make any. And it also, I feel bad, right? Like, it's like just clothing production, especially, is just like really tough on the environment and really tough on human beings. And so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying I'm anti-merch. I do own quite a bit of merch, but it's part of me is just like, okay, you know, maybe.
My advice for any businesses that want to sell merch, consider that a bonus to your marketing budget. Right?
Yeah.
You are getting free advertising when people wear your brand out and other people see it. You have walking billboards, and you're not having to pay for it out of pocket. Capitalizing on that, wonderful. That's free advertising, and you can be like, hey, I'm getting something great out of that and not having to pay for it. If you're looking at it as a moneymaker, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. All right. So we have our callers back.
Yes.
Let's see. Do we want to take our Swiss caller who has more metaphysical conversation to have, or do we want to talk to Stephen, who was given a chaplain even when he didn't want one?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's talk to both of them. Definitely.
Oh, of course. All right, cool. Then let's talk to Stephen in Pennsylvania. Stephen, you're live on the show.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Probably better than you, friend. You were in the hospital?
I was in the hospital. I had a blood infection. That got kind of serious.
Sounds awful.
It is, and I'll be okay. It's just annoying. But when you check in, they give you this screening verbally. They ask me first, would you like a visit from a chaplain? And I said, no. I said, I'm atheist. No, thank you.
Sure.
Then they asked, have you experienced a loss or serious grief in the last year? And I said, no. And then the third question was, do you have any concerns about your treatment? Well, this is serious. So, yes, I do. So the nurse was very nice, and she says, okay, well, I'm putting that in here. And I said, no, wait a second. I want you to stress in there that I am atheist and I do not want to meet with a chaplain, because it is not the first time that this has happened to me.
Yeah.
So I told them it happened. In fact, I had a Catholic priest who pulled up a chair next to my bed and would not leave until I threatened to hit the nurse button to have him escorted out. So I was like, I'm under enough stress as it is. I really don't want to be like this. So I'm going through my week and getting pumped full of antibiotics and constantly having blood taken and people taking my vitals, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And I'm talking with the nurse's aide who's there in the room with me, and the door opens, and this little tiny woman comes in and she goes, hi, are you Stephen? And I said, yes. Who are you? She said, well, I'm a chaplain. I said, then you're leaving. And she said, excuse me? I said, no, excuse you, go. I said, I specifically said I did not want to meet with a chaplain, and I am very offended and very angry. So the best thing for you to do is to walk
mosey on out.
Don't turn your back to me and close the door.
Stephen.
And yes.
You are becoming a delightful crotchety old man. You know that?
Well, the best part was the nurse's aide, because people don't know how they don't look at me and think, oh, he's gonna turn evil. No, they never think that. So the woman backed away, carefully.
Uh-huh.
And the nurse's aide is still standing there, and she goes, "You did that really well." And I said, "It's not my first rodeo."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, how didn't you tell them?" And I said, "Yeah, I told them." She said, "Let me look at your questionnaire." So she looked at it, and she said, she went through the questions again, and she said, "Yeah, that's what it says here." She said, "Well, maybe because you had concerns, they still sent one." And I said, "Well, I still said no."
Yeah.
I said, "Now, if you had wanted to send me a counselor," she said, "Well, we don't have those." I said, "Well, that's not my problem. That doesn't mean that you send me a chaplain.
Right.
I can be upset about my medical condition. Send me a doctor. How about that?
Yeah.
Let me talk to the doctor about the medical thing. And
Well,
if I'm
no,
experiencing grief or loss, I need a psychiatrist. I don't need a chaplain."
Sure.
So anyway, I go ahead.
Well, what I expect is the problem is you said you had a problem with your care. And if you want a problem with your care, you have a better chance of getting an answer from God. So maybe this.
Sure. Well, and I they said, you'll have the opportunity to give your feedback. I went, "Oh, good," because I'm that old man that has nothing to do and writes Yelp reviews.
Oh, so crotchety.
Yes. So it's going to be, well, and I'm going to be constructive about it, because I did say to the girl, if you have someone who's playing both roles of counselor and chaplain, and your patient has specifically identified themselves as an atheist, if you say, "I'm a counselor," you might get to stay.
Yeah.
I can't say I would have let her stay, because I don't like new counselors, but, I could have had my own therapist come in and gotten more out of it. But I just find it interesting, because it ties in with what you and Adam were talking about, because that's when I joined the program today. Religion, to me, with all due respect to Adam, is not about what he was talking about. It's about power. It's about control. It's not about belief system. If you want to talk about a belief system, that's one thing. But when we talk about Christianity, and especially in the United States, we're not talking about which belief is correct. We're talking about
the power structure.
You think this way, or we're gonna prejudice ourselves against you. You live your life the way we tell you, or we're going to judge you for it. It's not about, and I just as a side tangential thing, I have known people from the Middle East who are gay, who are alcoholics, because they are going to be put in arranged marriages against their will. So, okay, they're very religious. They don't want to go home. So what does that mean? They're still just as alcoholic. My father was Catholic. He was alcoholic. My whole father's family is alcoholic, and they're all Catholics. Doesn't matter, any of that. And when I look at people who've gone through like AA, just because they hold AA meetings in the basement of the church doesn't mean
that you can
that the
proselytize.
religion is what's making that work.
Right, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't work.
And I I said to a friend of mine a few years ago, she had gotten out of a toxic marriage, and she's telling me about it. And she's a pastor, and I love her, and we get along fine. But she's telling me about how God helped her get out of that marriage, and I went, "No, He didn't. You found the strength, and you did it.
Yep.
You deserve the credit for that." Now, what I will grant in terms of prayer, it's about focusing your mind on a goal. So if you want to pray for healing, there is evidence that helps, but that isn't what's doing it. It's you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. You gave us a lot, my friend.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
I'm fine.
No, all of it's good. All of it's good. We just want to be a part of it.
Sure.
But I've been jumping in first. Tori, do you have anything you want to?
Oh man, there were so many levels to this.
I
believe it.
I think the first thing is, yes, I agree with you. It is a great take saying that we need to address systems of power. That said, bringing that up to Adam would have been useless. And it would have been less.
Well,
it would have been worse than useless. And the reason why is because Stephen is not at a place where he sees that as a system of
Adam.
power. Adam, sorry, you're Stephen. I apologize, Stephen.
I'm Stephen. That's okay.
Adam,
I get that a lot.
yeah,
It's okay.
The people call you Adam all the time. So the most effective use of my time I've found when it comes to talking to believers is to find out where they're at, and meet them where they are.
Sure.
And so, like, trying to meet Adam where his definitions are and addressing things where he's at means that I don't need to cajole him to my side in order to start the conversation. I'm comfortable starting the conversation where he is and then getting things there. You know what I mean? So, like,
Sure.
yes, it's just there's so much to it that you're not wrong. Just maybe not with Adam. Maybe with Stephen. Maybe with Stephen, that's the thing to talk about. But maybe not, but not with Adam. That said, fucking banger of a point. Like, you're right. You know?
Well, I'm screaming as I'm on hold. This always happens when I call and I'm waiting to speak to you. I'm screaming my own take on what the person is talking about. And all I kept, when he started to talk about how there was no religious whatever in England, I was like, Henry VIII, hello? How did that work out? Why do we have a Church of England and a Church of Scotland? Why?
Why do we have a King James Bible? I wonder.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and that all went well. It certainly went well for Henry VIII's wives. So, you know, let's talk to Anne Boleyn and her six fingers. But anyway,
let's talk about the IRA just a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
but
well, exactly. But it's okay, Adam. We still love you. You'll still get a Christmas card or Hanukkah card or whatever card you need. But still, I
think
knew you and I would be on the same page. I'm just like, you know, pulling out my hair here. But I just got out of the hospital, so I'm still a little stir crazy, and my brain has to calm down. But yeah, sorry about that, Tori. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. I'm still like flabbergasted that the first question that they asked you was, "Do you want a chaplain?" Like, what? This is so strange to me. It's like,
you would think only if you're dying, right? Like if you are knocking on death's door.
I kind of was.
Jeez.
Oh,
it was
I'm
pretty
sorry.
serious, and that's okay. I'm probably minimizing a little bit because it's upsetting.
Yeah.
But they asked me for my arrangements.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And that's never happened before. So, you know, my husband knows what to do. He's going to cremate me and keep me in the dining room. So it's fine.
Nice.
But, yeah, next to my mother, I'm like, what is going on? But anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. My last will and testament on SKEPGEN, so you can have this recorded as of July 26, 2026. It is still what it has been for the last 5 years. And when I die, I want to be cremated. And then I want some of my ashes to be held aside. Whoever wants some of my ashes, they could take it. I don't care. You know, do what you want to do. Take me with you. Don't leave me. But I want enough of my ashes to be set aside to be pressed into a diamond. And I want that diamond to be set into a gaudy necklace, just heinous. And I want that gaudy necklace to be passed on to the most superstitious member of my family. Because I will be the haunted necklace, and they can't give it away. I'll haunt your ass. And I know that I will survive haunting my family for at least 2 to 3 more generations, which is it makes me happy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You think I'm kidding. That is genuinely what I want.
I want them to take all of the little microplastics out of my body and turn it into like one of those little tiny G.I. Joe figurines. Like that's what I'm not getting a diamond, but I will get a little G.I. Joe guy.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I heard synthetic diamonds aren't that expensive. Like it's getting cheaper and cheaper.
It is.
It is for that
do
sort
not
of
get
thing.
me started on diamonds.
Yeah, I know.
Do not.
I know. I love it. I love it though. So Stephen, the unfortunate thing and the fortunate thing is we could talk to you for the entire day. You were a delight.
Always.
We do have
I just wanted to give you a quick story. We're good. It's okay.
Yeah,
and I'm interested in the Swiss call too. So, you know.
That said, You know, it's funny. My partner V is an aspiring crotchety old man and is working very hard at it. And I tip my hat to you, sir. Continue being the delightful crotchety old man that you are. I love it. I'm so glad that you're here, Stephen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, and it's fun to blow the kids' minds when I have like a 25-year-old nurse who's like, where did you come from? You know, but I'm like, spend time in here. You're going to learn a few things. You know what's funny with V? I'll leave you with this.
What's up?
I had a conversation when V was part of Skeptic Generation with V, or I was about to. And V said, oh, this sounds really interesting. You'll have to call back. And V was never on the show again for me to call back. So let V know that's still stuck in my mind. I think of V often because I that conversation just didn't finish.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I do have a very good therapist. I've worked through it, but I think of V often. So I think of both of you often. So I'm glad you're doing well as well. But and welcome to the family, Tori. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you, Stephen. This was lovely. I hope that we get to talk again very soon. And also, I'll tell V that you're feeling away still about the fact that they didn't finish the conversation with
ignored.
you. I think that's valid.
I feel.
All right.
And if there's any advice that V needs about being crotchety, tell them to call me. It's fine. You have my information.
That may work. That may work.
That may work.
Honestly.
So I'll be here. You know. All
Sounds good. You take care, brother.
Take care, kids. Have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't I have the best audience?
Yeah. Honestly. Like, this has been amazing.
Right? Genuinely.
I'm a fan. I'm into it.
Me too. All right, let's talk to Jay in Switzerland. I see what happened. Jay, stay in the host room. I was disconnected again.
Oh, no.
You heard the bloom bloom, right?
Yep. When that happened right when you got off the call with Adam, too.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Well,
Okay.
so there was a big update to Call in Studio. That may be it. Jay, are you...
Apparently, it's not a good one.
Yeah, Jay, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Oh, my God.
So
I can hear
happy. Yes, we can. What's on your mind, Jay?
Oh, good. Hello. Very nice to talk to you, Eric, and Tori, I believe is the name.
Yeah. Nice to talk to you, too.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you. So maybe to give you a little bit of context, I'm calling about me and my brother. We both were raised in a very religious environment, in the Catholic environment, when we were younger. But I eventually grew out of the religion and became more atheistic.
Okay.
But my older brother, he stayed more on the religious side. So just recently I visited him, and then he said, yeah, let's go to the church. He always goes every Sunday. So we went there together because they had free meals, and obviously I couldn't say no. And
yeah, I mean, that checks out. Yeah.
I just had to endure the
proselytizing
preacher, or how do they call it?
Yeah.
For 2 hours or so.
Isn't it crazy, the holding food hostage? And the funny thing is like I used to volunteer with my church, and I was part of it. I was one of the people that would hold your food hostage. I stood on the other side of the plastic table in front of the trays of casserole and shit that we got, either that was made or that we picked up at Costco. And I would not give you your slop until you listened to the 2-hour sermon.
Oh my God.
That's very evil, yeah.
I was still. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but I kind of enjoyed because my brother and me, we talk a lot about religion, and he really wanted to introduce me to his pastor there, as they have a good relationship as well in the community. So then eventually at lunchtime, he would come and sit with us and then, preach to me a little bit and telling me that, he heard that his brother, me, was more of a skeptic, and he was curious to see where that comes from, what are my thoughts towards Christianity and so on. And I explained to him the background.
Yeah.
And told him my motives, so to say, why I don't really believe, because I don't have any good reason to be confident towards this God. So I explained to him that. And I thought, well, the God, essentially, a God that puts free will as an excuse towards the suffering that is happening, I don't understand this priority that this apparent God sets.
So if you find yourself in that situation, my go-to example is I ask, is there free will in heaven? Because if there is free will in heaven, then you can have free will and no suffering. That is just the case. And if there is no free will in heaven, then you're not you. So that has helped me in the past.
Yeah, it seems very awkward, that he would allow in that first setting in heaven to have both.
That's more than a little awkward. That's evil.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're preaching to the choir. I'll let you continue.
Excuse me?
I said you're preaching to the choir, though. I'll let you continue.
Yeah. No. Thank you for the input. No, it's a really interesting point. But I couldn't really wrap around my head towards his explanation. He said that Jesus or the God wants to have a personal relationship with us. That's why he lets us choose. And to me, this doesn't make sense at all. I can't somehow figure out how this is a viable option to him, to let us freely choose a relationship with him. And I'm kind of stuck mentally. I don't really know what to say, and I'm not there obviously to try to convert him to be an atheist, and that was never my goal.
Yeah.
But as I discuss these things with my brother, I feel like it is necessary to deliver an adequate response when it comes to these so-called excuses.
Yeah.
I think
hope
that
you know
that
what I
one
mean.
I think that one's really an important one, and it comes up a lot in Christian spaces, right? But I mean, personally, like, I reject the idea that there is any free will within Christian theology, if you believe in hell being eternal conscious torment. Like, that's not free will, right? Like, a much kinder version of this would be if I told my kid, hey, clean your room or I'm going to burn your hand on the stove.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a choice. That's not a real choice. And that's much kinder than burning someone alive forever. Like, much kinder. So it's like, do this thing or I'll hurt you severely. Like, that's also not free will. That's coercion. That's violence. You're not giving me any kind of a choice here, Jesus. You're saying either I have to do exactly what you say, or you're going to hurt me, not just in my, 80 years on earth, but for all time and eternity. That's, again, like, that's not an actual choice at all. And so I think that it's absurd when Christians say, like, well, you had to have free will. It's like, but you don't have free will, right? It's like, hey, again, like, there's so many examples that one could give. Somebody says, hey, kiss me or I'll shoot you. That is not a choice. That's not a choice. It's nuts to even claim that is a choice and you have free will in the matter. You do not. That's a threat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like holding someone at gunpoint, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
But forever, for eternity, holding someone at gunpoint, like that is not okay. You're not a good person. If that is the choice you are giving to your child or your neighbor or a person walking down the street, like you're bad. You're bad. You're a bad person. Like don't do that. That's not a choice.
yeah. No, I think it plays a lot with. No, I agree with your point, and I think this dilemma it plays a lot with our fear and emotions. At least that's at least how I experienced it in my childhood when I was brought up to the fear of going to hell,
Yeah.
and wanting to go to heaven, right? Wanting to do the good things. And maybe one point that I forgot to bring up was when I sat there, the subject of the day was forgiveness. And there were people of all ages, children as young as 4 years old. And these people there, they preached the message that you can get forgiveness, you should forgive, which is a nice message, in my opinion, to forgive. But they then followed up with the statement that only through Jesus he can forgive you. And
That's a pretty good
found
racket.
that somehow difficult because what does that do with the children that are listening there at such a young age?
Yeah.
Yes.
They keep propagating. Sorry.
No. Please continue.
They keep propagating such good messages like forgiveness and all these seemingly good values, but then you have these messages of only God can forgive you, blah blah blah, and that doesn't seem to be very nice to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so we're trained to do that. If you give God the only means to forgiveness, then if you want to forgive somebody or you seek forgiveness, then it's the one-stop shop for it. But we do that elsewhere as well. Just throwing it out there that, you in Switzerland and us in the United States, we both live in systems where the government is the only place where you can get justice. And if you want justice, you have to go to them because they're the only ones who can do it. When you give over those fundamental things, they have power over you for sure. But I think
too bad God is not here to give us justice just face to face.
Right. Well, we give that to the state.
Yeah.
I do gotta say, strategically, one of the things you can do to help in this strategic conversation is first get them to agree that free will is not entirely free. The way you do that is by saying, hey, can I breathe underwater? No. Can I fly like a bird? No. Can I survive in the vacuum of space? Space. No, I can't. Does that affect your free will? Well, yeah, if I want to breathe underwater, I can't, I'll die. Right? So obviously, if we're treating this like a parent and child, God has created a playpen and thrown everything that you're allowed to do in the playpen. You are not allowed to go into space. You're not allowed to breathe underwater, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So God has put limitations on your free will. That is a thing I think you can get them to very easily, right?
Yeah.
So why can't
exactly.
the worst circumstance be stubbing your toe? Why does it have to be, why is childhood cancer a thing? Right? If we're talking about the problem of evil, what is God throwing in the playpen? Why is God throwing a gun in? Why is that an option? Because would you throw a gun into your child's playpen? No. Then you have a better morality than your God, because your God obviously does do that. So anyway, that's just old Eric coming out. There's your strategy advice. Tori, do you have anything else for Jay?
No, I think you nailed it. That's really where we're at. Is it's like, well, I mean, free will, you got to give people choices that are actually appealing to them and not just my way or the highway sort of.
I didn't think it wasn't in my Tory bingo card today that you would label all Christians as Calvinists.
Well, I mean, they don't think of themselves that way. So I don't think it's like, oh, we should call all of them Calvinists, but like ultimately, yeah, to me, it's like choices have to be, do you want pepperoni on your pizza or just cheese? Not, I'm going to hold your head in the bathtub full of water if you don't agree with me on Genesis 1:1.
I'm going to lock you in the basement and burn the house down.
Right. Like, this is just, we have to be serious about the fact that, like, that's not, we're pretending it's free will. And if the only choice that you have is, if your only other alternative is of like experiencing violence, that's not necessary. Violence that is being chosen for you. Like,
yeah.
No, thank you for the message. I will keep this in mind and maybe try to convey
use it on your
message
brother.
Like that.
Yeah.
To my brother, yeah.
All right. Hey, Jay, thank you for calling. I know you called over and over again because we had all of those issues. Thank you for sticking with it and calling back.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Have a good one.
Take care, friend.
Thank you. Bye.
This is why I want to do the show earlier, because we get more European callers. When it's later in the day, it's just too late for them. I have such a weird relationship with the Swiss.
You specifically, or like me as a nation?
No. Me specifically. When I was 5, we went on a family vacation that took me to Switzerland. And I was an adorable 5-year-old.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, these cheeks on a child. Woo! And I was just doted on by Swiss people. And all I remember is just treats and sweets and smiling faces. And so I've got to like not do that. But it's such an interesting, like, that's my fond memory. And I got to,
That's so cute.
I know,
oh
right?
My God.
Oh, I was adorable.
Oh my God, that is so cute.
All right. So Tori, I want to. I've got an hour that I can put into the after show. I know you probably got mom stuff to do, so I totally understand. But if people
try to pop in,
yeah. If you can't, totally understand.
If I can, yeah.
Okay, but if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Oh my God, I'm in Portland. If you want to find me,
don't do
that.
I
live in the coolest neighborhood in Portland.
Yeah, don't find Tori physically.
Come at me, bro.
Don't do that. I no.
You can find me on Go Home Bobby You're Drunk mainly these days. So that's the podcast that I do with Justin Gentry, and we talk about, we reread the Bible through our post-evangelical lens and decide if stories like Abraham and Isaac are worth keeping or if they are doing more harm than good in the world right now. So that's a place to find me.
The pragmatic use of it is interesting. The one Bible story with just a gram of skepticism, Lot and his daughters, like just the tiniest bit of, but what if it didn't happen exactly like that? It's the grossest thing. It is the grossest thing. I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. I also think that it's just like, to me, it feels very interesting that, we get these scripture verses that are like, oh, God's ways are higher than our ways. We can't understand what God is doing and why God makes the choices that they make in the world. And then also like the way that God chooses to dole out punishment is just the like most violent human way to dole out punishment that happens to be popular at the time. Like, I find that very strange. I'm like, you'd think you could come up with better ideas if you're an all-knowing being, but I guess got to depend on human brains.
And contextually, like, I think that we're so influenced by Dante's Inferno that a fitting punishment,
unfortunately.
that like a fitting punishment often needs to be somehow ironically tied to the crime. And like, you look at other cultures and it's like, oh, you're a bad person, you're going to be an insect in your next life. Like, no,
Right.
for us, the punishment needs to fit the crime and some grand irony. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but also someone who's experiencing like a violent episode.
Yeah.
It can't just be like a weird or like ironic parallel. It's got to be someone who's unwell.
Absolutely.
Dishing it out.
Absolutely. I honestly, after I'm on social media long enough and I watch enough rage bait, it's kind of where I wind up. I need to go touch grass. I've been getting better about touching grass.
You have. You texted me about hiking.
Yes, I need shoe recommendations. Help me, please, Tori.
Okay. Yes, I shall.
It's time to read Super Chats. Sean Loves Maths sent £5. Okay. Since 1, not A, is, A implies false. And 2, A and B is not, A implies not B, it's possible to get negation in conjunction from implication alone. Honestly, that feels some in the same territory as Russell's paradox. Anytime you get, set theory that contradicts itself, mathematicians, Sean, have answered by saying, well, it works for everything except contradictions. Fuck off. Not you, but math. Math can fuck off. My Unfinished Journey sent $2 and said, hail Eric and Tori, and down with naked corruption. Damn straight, the Emperor's not wearing clothes. Let's quit pretending. My Unfinished Sock sent $2 and says, don't ostracize people. Like and share the stream. That's right. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for notifications when we come on every Sunday. Become a patron. Patreon.com/Skeptic Generation. I got to say, over the years, people have dropped off because the economy is bad. So we don't have very many re-uptakes. Become a patron. It really does help. Sean Loves Maths sent 2 more Super Chats and says, one for £2 and says, my last is, of course, only if we're allowed false. I don't know if my brain's going to put those things together. I got to be honest. Sean Loves Math sent £5 and says, if free will necessitates the possibility of evil, then God did not create that logic. I don't know. I think that an omni-God did not create that logic. But like, if there is a God and it's a Greek God and he can be kind of a dick sometimes, then sure. But if if a God is powerful enough to deal with sinners by not torturing them forever and doesn't do that, then yeah, that's where you get your problem.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Hard agree.
Link to the Discord is in the description, and I believe is also in the live chat. So come and join us. Want to hear from you. It's a much more relaxing atmosphere. I get to turn these lights in my eyeballs off and all that good stuff. So we will see you there. Tori, did I miss anything? Oh yeah. Hey guys, our volunteers are amazing. We love you all so much. Thank you to our volunteers for everything that you do. Y'all are incredible. All right, y'all. Tori, I'm genuinely sad that it's going to be a month until I talk to you again. Can I have you on sooner? I am going to have you on sooner, right? We moved you.
Yeah, I'm going to be on in like 2 weeks, I think.
Yes, good.
Not next week.
But the week after.
But the week after, yeah.
Good. I genuinely get sad knowing that it's going to be.
Back.
Good. We need you. All right. Until next time, I'm Eric Murphy.
I'm Tori Williams Douglas.
This is Skeptic Generation.
Glad we had this talk.
Mm-hmm.